The birth of people with unusual body parts is often considered a deviation. However, such individuals adapt to life in society and often gain worldwide popularity. Through their work in museums and circuses, they found friends in close-knit communities, secured a stable livelihood, and proved that it is possible to live a fulfilling life despite physical differences. Ella Harper was born in the United States and became known as the Camel Girl. She was born with a condition called knee joint recurvation, a rare pathology that caused her knees to bend backward. This condition made it easier for her to move on all fours. In 1882, at the age of 12, Ella began touring with Harris's Nickel Plate show. Her performances earned her approximately $200 per week, equivalent to $5,000 in today's currency. In advertisements and promotions, she was described as a beautiful and charming young lady whose body and gait resembled that of a camel, drawing significant public interest. In 1886, Ella participated in a photo shoot with a prominent New York photographer known for capturing images of individuals with unique physical conditions. These photographs remain the last known images of Ella. At 16, she decided to leave the entertainment industry, having grown tired of constant travel and public attention, and instead focused on her education. At 35, Ella married a school teacher and later worked as an accountant in a photography studio. She passed away in 1921. Chang and Ang Bunker, famously known as the Siamese Twins, were born in 1811 to a Chinese father and a Malay mother. The twins were conjoined at the chest, and due to the limitations of 19th century medical technology, separation was impossible. Today, such a procedure would be easily performed. At the age of 18, the twins were offered the opportunity to perform in a circus and tour the world. For 10 years, they successfully showcased their unique condition and even learned several acrobatic tricks. The twins became acquainted with writer Mark Twain, who in August 1869 published a satirical short story titled The Personal Habits of Siamese Twins. At 32, Chang and Ang married sisters Adelaide and Sarah Yates. Chang fathered 10 children, while Ang had 11. Tragically, in 1874, Chang contracted pneumonia and passed away at 62. Ang died just hours later. Priscilla Roman was born on April 26, 1911 in Puerto Rico. She was notable for having not only a full head of hair, but also thick, dark hair covering her face and body. She also had 2 rows of teeth. Among 7 children in her family, she was the only one with such a severe anomaly. Her parents sought medical opinions in New York, hoping to understand her condition or find a cure. However, doctors were unable to determine the exact diagnosis and concluded that her condition was due to a genetic mutation which was untreatable. After her father's death, Priscilla was adopted by showman Carl Lauder, who created various entertainment shows featuring individuals with unique conditions. Dubbed the Monkey Girl, Priscilla achieved great popularity with audiences. The Lauders were caring parents who ensured Priscilla received a good education by hiring private tutors. In 1936, she met Emmett Bajano, famously known as Labello the Alligator Boy. The two felt a mutual attraction, and after several secret meetings, they eloped. Later, they returned to the stage as a duo, gaining fame as the strangest married couple in the world. Schlitzie, a unique individual, was born in 1911 in New York City. He became widely known as an American performer in street circuses and carnivals. Schlitzie gained significant fame for his role in Todd Browning's 1932 film Freaks, which depicted life in a traveling circus, with many roles played by real sideshow performers. However, the film was banned in the United States for nearly 30 years. Schlitzie was born with a condition that caused his head to be unusually small, and he stood only 122 centimeters or 4 feet tall. In 1935, circus trainer George Surtees became his legal guardian, taking care of him. Under Surtees's care, Schlitzie continued to perform in carnival and sideshow acts. After Surtees's death, Schlitzie was placed in Los Angeles County Hospital, where he struggled with depression due to his inability to perform. Hospital authorities eventually decided that Schlitzie would receive better care under a former employee and allowed him to return to the street circus. In his later years, Schlitzie lived an eventful life, performing in various local and international shows until his passing. Frances Bell O'Connor was born without aims in the state of Minnesota. Despite this, she lived a full and active life, mastering the use of her feet with incredible dexterity. Her physical beauty and outgoing personality led her to participate in numerous sideshows, traveling circus attractions featuring unique acts. O'Connor was often referred to as the living Venus de Milo, after the ancient Greek statue created between 130 and 100 BCE, which depicts the goddess Aphrodite. Frances amazed audiences by skillfully using her feet to smoke cigarettes, drink coffee, cut food with a knife and fork, and dab her mouth with a napkin, all with the grace of a ballerina. Her beauty attracted many admirers, and she reportedly declined hundreds of marriage proposals throughout her career. Frances spent her later years pursuing her favorite hobbies, sewing and knitting. She passed away at the age of 67 in California. Martin Joe Lorello, known for his extraordinary ability to rotate his head 180 degrees, lived for about 70 years. Unlike many of his circus colleagues, Martin was not born with a physical anomaly. Instead, he achieved his shocking skill through years of intense training. Born in the late 19th century, Lorello emigrated to the United States in 1921. He first showcased his unique talent at the Dreamland Circus Sideshow in New York City, where he earned the nickname the Human Owl. Although he could rotate his head fully backwards, he could not smoke or breathe in that position. However, he could drink fluids with ease. His final performance occurred 3 years before his death, leading to speculation that he stopped due to an injury, though no medical records confirmed this. Martin Joe Lorello passed away in 1955 from a heart attack, leaving the details of his life and talent shrouded in mystery. Australian Paralympic swimmer Sarah Hubolt is not only a talented athlete, but also a skilled physical theater performer and a passionate advocate for the rights of people with disabilities. Born in 1983 in Queensland, she lives with a rare syndrome that has resulted in her short stature of 144 centimeters and poor vision. Despite these challenges, Sarah is a member of a women's circus where she performs as an aerial artist, showcasing breathtaking aerial tricks and acrobatics. Her determination and physical strength helped her win 3 gold and 1 silver medal at the 1999 Fespic Games in Bangkok, Thailand. Lalu Rampersad was born with a parasitic twin emerging from his chest. The twin had legs and arms but no head. In 1888, Lalu began touring Europe with circus shows, often dressing in women's clothing to add flair and drama to his performances. In 1891, he traveled to the United States, where he continued to perform in prominent circus shows, captivating audiences with his unique condition. Johnny Eck was born with an underdeveloped lower body, weighing only 900 grams and measuring 20 centimeters at birth. As an adult, he grew to a height of 43 centimeters. Despite his physical condition, Johnny enjoyed good health and lived to the age of 79. At the age of 12, Johnny began his career as a performer. Billed as the amazing half-boy and the most remarkable man alive, Johnny wowed audiences with his signature handstand tricks. At 26, Johnny collaborated with magician Raja Raboid, adding an element of surprise to the famous sawing a man in half illusion. Outside the circus, Johnny led a multifaceted life. He participated in a small musical group, raced custom-built cars designed to suit his physique, and pursued various interests. After retiring from performing, Johnny purchased a small arcade, but the business eventually failed. Millie and Christine were conjoined twins born in North Carolina in the late 19th century. Their mother had previously given birth to 7 children without any anomalies. The twins faced a difficult life from the start. At just 10 months old, they were sold to a South Carolina resident, John Purvis. Over the years, they were sold multiple times to different owners. On January 1, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation ended their status as slaves, granting them freedom. Now free, the twins no longer had to be exhibited at fairs and freak shows across the United States and Canada. Soon after, they returned to their birthplace. An undated and unsigned biography of the sisters, written around 1905, chronicled their childhood, their time in slavery, their relocation to England, and their eventual return to the United States. Prince Randian, also known as the Living Pillow, the Snake Man, the Human Caterpillar, and by various other names, was born without arms and legs. Despite this, he developed remarkable skills, including painting and writing by holding tools in his mouth. He even managed to shave by securing a razor in a wooden block. His most famous act was rolling and lighting cigarettes using only his lips, a talent showcased in the film Freaks. Prince Randian crafted all his performance props himself, including a wooden box he built, painted, and locked. During circus performances, he often wore tight woolen clothing, giving him the appearance of a caterpillar or snake. He moved independently, using his hips and shoulders. Randian was well educated and fluent in Hindi, English, French, and German. He and his wife had 5 children together. Randian passed away in 1934 from a heart attack shortly after his final performance at Sam Wagner's Museum on 14th Street in New York City. Edward Mordache is a figure from an English urban legend of the 19th century. According to the tale, Edward was born with 2 faces, one normal, strikingly handsome face in the front, and another on the back of his head, grotesque and malevolent. This condition, scientifically known as craniopagus parasiticus, can occur when the heads of conjoined twins partially fuse into a single body. Edward was said to prefer isolation and rejected contact with his family. Witness accounts claimed the second face never spoke or consumed food, though its eyes reportedly followed people around, and it would occasionally display expressions of joy or sadness. The first known mention of Edward Mordache appeared in an article titled "The Wonders of Modern Science" in the Boston Post in 1865. However, the article was later revealed to have been written by Charles Lowton Hildreth, a science fiction writer, casting doubt on the tale's authenticity. Jack Early was an American silent film actor and vaudeville performer. He claimed to be the tallest man of his time, standing at 2.6 meters or 8 feet 6 inches. However, his actual height was 2.29 meters or 7 feet 6 inches, which was still exceptionally tall. Born in 1906 in Colorado to a family of Polish-Jewish immigrants, Jack's growth was normal during his early childhood. However, after the age of 7, he began to grow rapidly, standing out among his peers. Due to his towering height, Jack tried to avoid attention by using alleyways on his way to school to avoid scaring others. At the age of 13, Jack traveled with his father to Los Angeles, where he caught the attention of Century Comedies, a film company that offered him a role in cinema. With his father's approval, Jack began his acting career, appearing in numerous films. While on tour in Texas, Jack received a 1-year contract offer from Ringling Brothers Circus, which turned into a 14-year career. He performed with the circus until 1940, when exhaustion led him to retire from show business. George and Willie Muse, African-American albino brothers known in the US as Eco and Iko, were iconic performers in freak shows, attracting audiences bored with traditional acts like tattooed men, giants, or dwarfs. The brothers were talented musicians and dressed elegantly in tuxedos, complemented by their explosive hairstyles. They grew their hair into massive dreadlocks, which were highly unusual in the US at the time. Spectators often tugged at their hair to confirm it was real. Taking a photo with the brothers cost visitors a hefty sum, equivalent to $30 today. Their story was a tragic one. The brothers were kidnapped and forced to perform in circuses. Years later, in 1927, their parents were reunited with them after years of separation. Julia Pastrana, a 19th century singer and dancer, suffered from hypertrichosis, a condition that caused excessive hair growth on her body and face. Following her death, Charles Darwin described her. Julia Pastrana, a Spanish dancer, was a remarkably beautiful woman, but she had a thick, masculine beard and hairy forehead. She was photographed, and her skin was stuffed and put on display. She also had an irregular double set of teeth in both her upper and lower jaws, one row fitting into the other, as documented by Dr. Perlin. Due to the excess of teeth, her mouth protruded, giving her face a gorilla-like appearance. Julia performed in circuses for many years, speaking 3 languages and being an exceptionally talented singer and dancer. Despite her intellectual and artistic abilities, most articles about her focused on her physical appearance rather than her education or talents. Frank Lentini, the extraordinary 3-legged boy, was born in Sicily, Italy in 1889. He was the 12th child in his family. At the age of 8, Frank immigrated to America along with many others seeking a new life. There, he joined a circus where he became a sensation. Frank met people with far more severe physical challenges, such as children born without legs. This inspired him to embrace his unique condition and work on himself. Frank learned to not only walk on 3 legs, but also run, jump rope, ride a bicycle, and even ride a horse. Audiences were captivated not just by his 3 legs, but by his sharp wit and agility. As he grew older, his physical anomaly became secondary to his charm and sociable personality, making him a beloved colleague among his peers. For over 40 years, Frank worked in American circuses, including the famed Coney Island. His charisma won the heart of a kind and lovely woman named Teresa Murray. The couple married and raised 4 healthy children together. Frank continued performing almost until his death in 1966. Alice Elizabeth Doherty, born in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the late 19th century, was known for her extraordinary condition of hypertrichosis. At birth, she already had about 1 centimeter of hair covering her body. This came as a shock to her family, as no one in their lineage had experienced such a condition. However, Alice had strikingly beautiful blue eyes. From the age of 2, Alice became a public attraction, showcased as a phenomenon of humanity. By the time she was 5, her hair had grown to 13 centimeters, and in her teenage years, it reached an impressive length of 230 centimeters. Alice participated in numerous sideshows that fascinated all who saw her. Despite her fame, she had little interest in the entertainment industry, but continued performing to support her family. She retired from the spotlight in 1915 and passed away in 1933 at the age of 46 due to bronchial pneumonia. Josephine Myrtle Corbin, an American sideshow performer, was born in 1868 with 4 legs due to a condition called dipygus. At the age of 13, she began performing in various entertainment shows. Advertisements described her as gentle as a summer's day and cheerful as a long one. Myrtle's popularity was so immense that competing showmen who lacked genuine 4-legged women in their acts resorted to creating fake ones. At 18, Myrtle married James Clinton Bicknell. The couple had 5 children, 4 daughters and 1 son. Despite the challenges of her condition, Myrtle built a successful career and led a fulfilling personal life, proving that even in the 19th century, a woman with a complex medical condition could thrive. In 1928, Myrtle developed a severe skin infection on her right leg, which doctors diagnosed as erysipelas, a streptococcal infection. She passed away later that year in Texas. In 1930, a Chinese farmer named Wang from Manchu came to public attention due to an extraordinary 35-centimeter or 14-inch horn growing from the back of his head. A banker discovered Wang and managed to photograph him, sending the picture to Robert Ripley, a famous amateur anthropologist and creator of the show Ripley's Believe It or Not, which showcased bizarre anomalies and wonders. Although Wang was normal in every other way, he adamantly refused to participate in the show. Ripley offered a large sum of money to anyone who could persuade the farmer to appear in public, but Wang disappeared from the public eye in the early 1930s, and no further information about him was ever reported. Medically, such horns are believed to result from benign tumors, though around 20% can be malignant. They are often linked to factors like radiation exposure or human papillomavirus, or HPV. When Annie Jones was just 9 months old, her parents began working with showman P.T. Barnum, as the child had facial hair. Barnum signed a 3-year contract with the family, paying them $150 a week. By the age of 5, Annie had developed a full mustache and sideburns, earning her the nickname the Bearded Girl. Throughout her life, Annie was kidnapped several times to be displayed in private exhibitions, but she was always returned to her mother. Annie traveled extensively, performing in various shows and museums. Beyond her distinctive appearance, she possessed considerable musical talent. By adulthood, her hair had grown to an impressive length of 180 centimeters or 6 feet. Annie married in 1881, but passed away in 1902 in Brooklyn due to tuberculosis. Famously known as the Elephant Man, is one of history's most poignant examples of a person with a unique appearance facing immense hardships due to illness. Joseph began exhibiting himself in freak shows under his stage name in the early years. At 11, Joseph's mother passed away. His father remarried, but both his father and stepmother rejected him. Forced to leave home, he sought refuge with his uncle. At 17, Merck began touring various countries to showcase his unusual appearance, but he struggled to earn substantial income. During a stop in Belgium, Joseph's manager robbed him, leaving him stranded in Brussels. Upon returning to London, Merck sought care at a local hospital where he lived out the remainder of his life. Tragically, Joseph Merck passed away at the young age of 27. Minnie Woo, born in 1880 in Georgia, was famously known as Cuckoo the Bird Girl. She was an interlude performer and gained recognition for her appearance in Tom Browning's film Freaks. Minnie had a rare congenital condition called Seckle syndrome, which caused her to have a small stature, a narrow bird-like face with a beak-shaped nose, baldness, and extreme nearsightedness. During her performances, Minnie wore costumes made of feathers, danced, and spoke in gibberish, enhancing her unique persona. In 1942, Billboard News reported that Minnie was recovering at Coney Island Hospital after breaking her arm in a fall down the stairs. 18 years later, she was reportedly struck by a car, but details about her death remain unknown. Felix Worley, born in 1858, had a distinctive ability to stretch his skin to extraordinary lengths due to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a genetic disorder that disrupts collagen production. Collagen is the essential protein responsible for maintaining skin's elasticity and strength, as well as stabilizing connective tissues. Felix's skin displayed extreme hyperelasticity, allowing him to stretch it to incredible dimensions. His joints were also unusually flexible, bending in ways that amazed audiences. To capitalize on his condition, Felix joined the Barnum & Bailey Circus, where he performed as the Elastic Skin Man. His unique abilities made him a celebrated figure in the sideshow world. Daisy and Violet Hilton, conjoined twin sisters, overcame years of exploitation to become successful stars of stage and screen in the United States. Born in 1908 in North Carolina to an unmarried barmaid, Kate Skinner, the twins were immediately rejected by their mother, who viewed their conjoined condition as divine punishment for her out-of-wedlock pregnancy. The girls were taken in by Mary Hilton, a restaurant owner in Brighton, England. However, Mary's motives were purely financial. The twins were subjected to years of grueling work, with all their earnings being confiscated. Despite this mistreatment, they received training in dance and saxophone, which would later contribute to their success. In 1931, Daisy and Violet gained legal independence and began managing their own careers, achieving significant popularity. Their last public appearance was in 1961 at a drive-in theater in Charlotte, North Carolina. Robert Huddleston was born with deformed lower limbs in Missouri at the end of the 19th century. Unlike many children with disabilities during that time, Robert's family did not abandon him, providing him with love and care. In return, Robert showed immense gratitude and reciprocated his family's love. He mastered several trades, including auto repair, woodworking, and metalworking. Through his performances at fairs and circuses, Robert not only earned money to support his family, but also showcased incredible feats of agility and flexibility that would challenge even the most physically capable individuals. His love for life and determination to make the most of it contributed to his remarkable longevity. Robert Huddleston passed away in 1970 at the age of 75. Aloisia Wagner, also known by her stage name Violetta, was a German and American circus performer born in 1906 in the German Empire. She was born with a rare condition that left her without arms and legs. At the age of 15, Aloisia began her career in the circus. Despite her physical limitations, she amazed audiences with her talents, including performing acrobatic tricks, singing, drawing, sewing, lighting cigarettes, and more, all using only her mouth. A journalist from London Life noted that Violetta captivated audiences not just with her abilities, but also with her beauty, which shone brightly despite her physical differences. She reportedly did not lament her lack of limbs, and her ringmaster would even tell the audience she thinks she's better off without them. Aloisia Wagner enjoyed a happy marriage and wore her wedding ring on a chain around her neck. Grady Franklin Stiles, an American sideshow performer, was known as the Lobster Boy due to ectrodactyly. Born in June 1937, Grady had a challenging personality, often aggressive and volatile, exacerbated by his struggles with alcoholism. He married twice and had 4 children, 2 of whom inherited ectrodactyly. Grady's personal life was fraught with conflict. In 1978, he shot and killed his eldest daughter's fiancé the night before their wedding, disapproving of her choice. He was found guilty in court, but was not sent to prison as the facilities were not equipped to accommodate his physical condition. Instead, he received house arrest and a 15-year probation sentence. Grady's life remains a striking example of how physical and emotional struggles can intersect in extreme and tragic ways. Fedor Petrov, originally named Fedor Petrov, was born in 1868, either near Kostroma or in St. Petersburg, according to various sources. He suffered from a rare genetic condition known as hypertrichosis, which caused excessive hair growth on his face and body. Fedor was adopted by Adrian Petrov, who also had the same condition. Together, the father and son began performing in European freak shows in 1873, becoming stars in cities like Paris and Berlin. After Adrian's death due to alcoholism, Fedor continued his solo career. Those who knew Fedor personally described him as polite, well-educated, and reserved. He spoke English and German fluently, enjoyed reading, and led a quiet life despite his fame. Although he missed his homeland, he never returned to Russia. After 20 years of performing, Fedor passed away in 1904 in Greece. Isaac Sprag, known as the Living Skeleton, stood 168 centimeters and weighed only 20 kilograms. He was born healthy, but began losing his appetite and weight at the age of 12 for unknown reasons. His parents sought help from numerous doctors, but none could explain or treat his condition. In 1865, Isaac met a circus owner who offered him a position in his troupe. Initially hesitant, Isaac accepted the offer, realizing it was his only way to work and support himself due to his physical limitations. He became a sensation, but tragedy struck in 1868 when P.T. Barnum's museum, where Isaac was performing, caught fire. Isaac narrowly escaped, nearly being trampled by the panicked crowd. Isaac later married and had 3 healthy sons, but his health continued to decline. He returned to the circus but struggled with gambling, losing much of his earnings. Isaac Sprag passed away in Chicago in 1887, destitute. Susie was born in the early 20th century in the Western District of Berlin. She suffered from ichthyosis, a skin condition that caused her skin to thicken, crack, and turn gray, resembling the texture of an elephant's hide. This condition brought her physical and emotional pain as she was ridiculed and isolated by her peers. During hot summer days, when other children played in the sun or swam, Susie had to avoid exposure due to her condition. Like many individuals with unique appearances, Susie found acceptance and community in the circus. In 1927, she moved to the United States as part of a troupe that included a giantess and a bearded lady. This move was strategic as tensions were rising in Europe leading up to World War II. In the 1930s, Susie frequently performed at Hubert's Museum on 42nd Street and Coney Island, becoming a well-known figure in the sideshow world. American intermediate artist Eli Bowen, known as the Legless Wonder or Legless Acrobat, was also referred to as the handsomest man in show business and the wonder of the great big world. He weighed 64 kilograms and was 61 centimeters tall. Possessing a strong spirit, Eli Bowen learned to walk on his hands, and physical exercise gave him excellent physical fitness, which allowed him to experiment with acrobatics. In 1897, he began performing in a circus called Barnum and Bailey in England. He was introduced as the Legless Acrobat and became famous for his acrobatic acts. His creative career in circuses lasted for about half a century. His personal life was also quite successful. He was married and had 4 sons who later became influential figures. On May 4, 1924, Bowen passed away from pneumonia at the Dreamland Circus on Coney Island. Fanny Mills suffered from a rare condition known as Milroy disease. Her lower limbs grew to enormous proportions. Rumors circulated in society that her leg condition arose because Mills's father had forced her mother, while pregnant, to wash the swollen leg of a foal. The length of her feet was 48 centimeters and their width was 18 centimeters. In 1885, Mills began exhibiting herself in New York at the Bowery Museum as the Ohio girl with the largest feet on Earth. At the height of her popularity, she earned $150 a week, approximately $4,000 today. Mills married William L. Brown, who secretly accompanied her on tours across the US and Europe. The marriage was kept confidential because, as a promotional stunt, a dowry of $5,000 was offered to any man willing to marry Mills. Unfortunately, by 1892, her health began to deteriorate and she soon retired. Stefan Bowski was a German circus performer of Polish origin who performed in the early 20th century. He was known as the Lion Man because his entire body was covered in hair due to a rare condition. Symptoms of hypertrichosis appeared when he was an infant. His parents, unable to cope with his unusual appearance, abandoned him when he was 4 years old. As a young man, Bowski moved to the US, where he began performing with Barnum's Circus. By then, his entire body, except for his palms and soles, was covered with hair up to 10 centimeters long, and the hair on his face reached 20 centimeters in length. In his performances, he mainly demonstrated gymnastic tricks, but he was often advertised as the missing link between ape and man. Despite his appearance, Stefan Bowski was an intelligent man, fluent in 5 languages, and displayed excellent manners. In 1920, he settled permanently in New York, becoming a popular local attraction. In 1928, he returned to Berlin, where he died of a heart attack 4 years later. Thum was born a large baby on January 4, 1838 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. However, 5 months after his birth, he stopped growing. His mother sought help from various doctors, but none were able to influence the child's growth. Likely, it was an issue with the pituitary gland, an endocrine organ that affects human growth. But at that time, this condition was not understood. When Thum turned 4, his family moved to New York to an apartment in the museum run by showman P.T. Barnum. While training in acting, Barnum described him as a capable student with a great natural talent and a sharp sense of humor. The boy played roles on stage as Napoleon, a Scottish Highlander, and other characters. In his teenage years, Thum reached a height of 91 centimeters. Throughout his life, he successfully toured many countries and was even a guest of President Abraham Lincoln at the White House. At the age of 45, Thum passed away from a stroke. In the early 20th century, circus audiences were captivated by Jac Labera, the man with two bodies. From the man's torso grew a small twin brother named Jac. Despite this unique condition, Jean managed to live a full life. He was married, had 4 children, and lived for about 50 years. A girl with an unusually large tongue and a man with an atypical genitalia live normal lives despite their unique features. Often, such individuals enjoy successful family lives and have completely healthy children. The mask of a circus clown and the unusual costume of a performer can evoke mixed feelings ranging from joy to unease. However, in most cases, these are friendly and kind people whose lives have led them to entertain circus audiences.